Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Lee Nelson. We're interrupting programming to show you a news conference just beginning in Farmington related to the explosion yesterday. Let's listen in.
State Fire Marshal Sergeant Ken Grimes, Police Chief Jack Peck, Town Manager Richard Davis, and State Police Lieutenant Jason Medore. They'll all have a statement, and then we'll have some Q&A afterwards. Chief Hardy.
Good afternoon, folks. My name is Tim Hardy. I'm the acting fire chief right now for the Farmington Fire Department. I'd like to give you, first of all, an update on our firefighters that are still in Maine Medical Center. Fire Chief Terry Bell is critical. Captain Scott Baxter is in critical condition. Firefighter Theodore Baxter, or Ted Baxter, is in critical condition. And Ted Baxter is the father of Scott Baxter. Timothy D. Hardy, who is my son, is in fair condition. And then Joseph Hastings, who's also a firefighter, is in fair condition. Right now, we really appreciate the outpouring that we've had from not only the community, but around the country over the concern and the welfare of our firefighters. And as you know, that's our first and foremost concern, along with the folks and the family of Captain Michael Bell, who, as you all know, is deceased because of that tragic incident we had yesterday. I'd just like to assure that the community of Farmington, we want you to know we're still here providing you services, and this is through the support of our mutual aid departments, plus area departments throughout the state that have graciously come in and provided us coverage support so that, as you know, we can focus on what we need to be focusing on. Right now, we're trying to focus on the needs of our firefighters as a whole. They are coming together very well. This is going to be a very long process, as I'm sure everybody's aware of, but we will recover from this, and we will eventually we'll be back to full staff. But this is going to take some time, and I'm sure that the community, knowing them and working with them and working with all the people you can see behind me, we'll all come together and we'll conquer this before we're done. Thank you.
Last name is Grimes, G-R-I-M-E-S. My first name is Ken. I'm a sergeant with the State Fire Marshal's Office. Yesterday, everyone is well aware that Farmington was devastated by a building explosion, which brought our agency in to investigate, try and determine what occurred, why occurred, how possibly to prevent something like this in the future. Yesterday, we spent the day working on interviews, talking with people, gathering information about the building, the products and the systems that were in the building. We also called our partners with ATF to come up and assist us. Because of the size of our agency and the magnitude of the work that needed to be done, we needed some extra hands, which they graciously came up and offered. Today we've been working mostly in the scene. We've been trying to establish what exactly transpired, why it happened, and it's a slow, methodical process that is going to take some time. I do not have any answers at this time as far as what exactly transpired. We are trying to find that out as we go through a checklist of the various items that we need to look at. We are releasing various portions of the scene. We released the fire department apparatus this morning. We're in the process of doing some excavation at the scene. We were able to recover some more firefighter gear and return that to the fire department. And at this particular time, we anticipate that we should have an answer on what went on, hopefully by the end of the week. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Jack Peck, and I'm proud to say that I'm the police chief here in Farmington and also a member of this community. Throughout this tragedy, I have been overwhelmed by the support shown by our community. Through their gracious gifts, food, donations, has been the vigils last night. It's really been an outpouring that I can't really speak highly enough about our community. I also want to talk, I want to recognize Larry Lord. He was the maintenance supervisor at LEAP yesterday afternoon. He was responsible for evacuating probably at least a dozen or so employees, and without his quick actions, I think it would have been much more horrific tragedy. So I just wanted to say that we are all working together, and thank you for your time.
Thank you all for coming. My name is Richard Davis. I'm the town manager of Farmington, and I want to echo Chief Peck's comments about the outpouring of support that we've received in this community. The business community in particular has provided all of the needs, met all of the needs of the first responders. They've provided food, beverages, emotional support, and the citizens have been outstanding in their respectful support for the disaster that happened here. We, as a town, have been getting many inquiries from people as to how they can help, how they can donate, and there are two ways they can donate. We have a fund that's called the Farmington Firemen's Benevolent Association. If people want to make a donation to the firefighters' families, then they should donate to that fund. We also have set up another account that's called the Farmington Disaster Relief Fund. It's here at a local bank, Franklin Savings Bank, and people may donate to that fund if they wish to support the families who have been displaced or others who are injured and affected by this disaster. There'll be information about these accounts posted on the town's website, www.farmington-maine.org. Thank you again for coming. We appreciate your support.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Lieutenant Jason Medore of the Maine State Police Troop C. At 9:45 this morning, Captain Mike Bell was honorably transferred from Augusta back to his hometown in Farmington with the assistance of the Maine State Police Honor Guard. The escort was made up of multiple agencies from the fire service, EMS, and law enforcement. It's times like this that cement our relationships between all first responders and public safety personnel. These relationships have morphed from individual agencies to one large family of first responders. We come together at times like this to accomplish the ultimate mission of paying the highest respect to one of Maine's greatest heroes. Thank you.
Questions?
Sergeant Grimes?
Ken?
I know you said there's not a lot of information that you're going to put out as far as the investigation right now, but do you have any information as far as the leak, as far as where it was, how much it was, what the ignition, what it was, what ignited it? Do we have any of that information at this point, or way too early?
Still way too early. All of those items that you just mentioned are things that we are looking at, that we're examining. One of many things we're trying to do with the scene.
What's next? I know you mentioned there's some excavation going on out of the scene.
I'm sorry, hang on a second.
What is your agencies and the ATF's next steps down at that scene?
Well, we have to continue on the road that we're on as far as trying to evaluate what exactly went on. And in an investigation like this, we go where the facts lead us. So every step that we take offers a direction for us to travel. We follow that. Once we get to the end, if it's a viable conclusion, then that's where we are. If it's not a viable conclusion, then we look for something else.
Sergeant, can you talk about the magnitude of the explosion so that you guys are investigating it right now, kind of the cleanup process going forward?
The actual scene itself was a tremendous explosion. It was, I've done a number of LP explosions in buildings over the years, and this is the worst one that I have seen as far as structural damage and neighborhood damage. It makes it difficult the larger it is, similar with a fire investigation. But it's something that if we go at it in small pieces at a time, that we can work our way through it.
You mentioned LP in investigation, meaning liquid propane. So is that still the primary thought of this investigation?
That's the road we're traveling right now. It's one of those things that even if it is not the responsible problem, it's something that we have to eliminate.
Are you able to speak to the cleanup of the insulation that's been going on from the people where it came out of the site into the surrounding area? Is there any way to talk about what people should do to try to protect themselves or try to clean up insulation that blew into their yards or anything along those lines?
That's not really something that I can talk about as far as, the general. DEP has been out here on scene. They've taken some air samples as well as they've come out and evaluated the materials that are around. From a personal perspective, our organization, we wear respirators when we're in working. Fire department personnel early on yesterday were wearing cotton cover masks when they were in there.
Yes, sir.
People are thinking about pulling more investment right now. Can you talk more about the injuries and how severe they might be?
All I have right now is what I have given you, and that's what was given to us from Maine Medical Center. As we hopefully, as the evening wears on, we'll have some more updates on that. We are bringing our mutual aid partners throughout the county together at 6 o'clock tonight for a meeting and a briefing to bring in hopefully some additional coverage support from those folks. And at the same time, as you all know, we're really focusing on the support of Captain Bell's family and their welfare. So,
how are they doing? I can't imagine.
I just came from there. Captain Bell's wife and her family probably an hour ago, and she has probably some of the best support that you could have throughout her family right at this point in time, and that is a very big plus for her. And under the circumstances and conditions, right now she's doing well.
Can you talk a little bit more about your relationship with Captain Bell and what kind of person he was? Can you talk a little bit more about your relationship with Captain Bell and what kind of person he was?
Well, Captain Bell is, of course, as you know, Chief Terry Bell's brother. Chief Terry Bell and myself go back. Chief Bell's been on the department 42 years. I've been on it 41 years, and then Captain Bell's been on 30 years. So we've all come up through the ranks together. We've all started right as a rookie firefighter and worked our way up. And as you folks know, and you've seen it out in your communities, it's a brotherhood, it's a family. You know, they say we play hard and we work hard, and that's where the family part of it comes from. Is you know, a lot of times we're together in the best of conditions, but then again, we're together in the worst of conditions, and circumstances like this, you know, really hit home with all of us.
And how's your family doing? Your son doing as well?
I am, you know, I'm very lucky. I have a very supportive wife. I have a very supportive son. My son and I have worked together in some serious fire conditions and fire scenes. So we relate very well together. They have both told me that for the time being, I'm where I need to be to help with the community part of it. I've been in constant contact with them. Matter of fact, my son, his biggest concern was he lost his cell phone in the fire. He called me bright and early this morning. He's got a new cell phone, and I am going to the hospital not to only visit him, but I'm going down to spend as much time as I need to tomorrow with the rest of our crew, and just it's time for me to be down there for a few minutes. So, excuse me.
What kind of support will the department need from the community going forward?
I think as the department tries to heal from this, I think, and I know from working in this community for all these years that they're already out there supporting every move that we make. And we really appreciate, as you've heard before, the great community support. The donations of food and water have been overwhelming. And as we go forward, our community has always been behind us, and I'm sure they'll continue to do whatever they need to make sure we all get. This isn't just Farmington Fire Department. This is Farmington, Maine, and beyond Franklin County. And We've all worked together so well in the past. We'll continue to go that route. Thank you. No, none. That's, I'm afraid, still a ways out.
Could you speak a little bit to when we might see the road reopened here? When a lot of this might be cleaned up and released back to the community?
What we do is at the end of each day, we evaluate the progress that we made, and we make a determination based on that, on what we need to hold for a perimeter, if we can shrink the perimeter, or if we have to expand the perimeter. We'll be having another one of those meetings later on this afternoon, and if we can shrink the perimeter, we will, which means that Route 2 would be able to be open.
Sergeant, I know you kind of talked about this a little bit earlier, but I know a lot of times interviews are what you rely on a lot, depending on what the situation looks like. And you were talking about how devastation here as far as the scene. I know at the Freiburg fire we talked about that you had to rely heavily on interviews and not so much the building because of the destruction. Is it similar in this case, or are you able to find some sort of evidence within the debris to be able to help with your investigation?
Right now we're progressing well with the forensics, but that's an ongoing process. And the people that we have been interviewing yesterday and a few today gave us the behavior and the actions of people, day-to-day routines, how things work, whether they're functioning or not. And that's very, very helpful to us. None of us have ever been in those buildings before. And just for somebody to tell us where a particular item that we have interest in is located is instrumental.
But there are forensics as well that you're able to.
Yes.
Have any of the injured firefighters or the employees that evacuated been able to talk to you about, what was going on when?
Very few. We're letting them right now heal because we're able to get the information verbally from other witnesses, and so we're letting them concentrate on healing from their injuries.
The employees, though, that got out safely, are they any help?
Yes, they would have told us what the conditions of the building were that morning, yes.
I got a quick question.
Sure.
Yes.
I was told that there were 30 people displaced by this.
I was told that as well. I can't.
So where are these people living at this point? The Red Cross is called?
The Red Cross has been called in. The United Way is involved as well, and the town has a general assistance program, as all towns do, in case of emergencies. So we're stand ready to assist these people find housing.
And as the town manager, can you speak at all to the cleanup process, but also just the general safety of that neighborhood, the people who live nearby?
From my observation, the neighborhood is safe.
How about that cleanup process?
Well, obviously we're concerned about getting the road reopened, but as Sergeant Grimes said, that determination will be made later on today.
Anything else? The reason why we did this here in Farmington this afternoon, not only to give you an update on the explosion, the investigation, but to demonstrate to not only Franklin County but the state of Maine the strong, courageous people of this town and how they're coping with this. And I think they've demonstrated that. I do have because of that, they have a strong web of support within this community. And the family members I know have asked some state officials for their privacy as they go through this process. And so we will all respect that. That is it for today's briefing. I would expect the next update will be sometime tomorrow, whether that is here in person or by email, yet to be determined. Thank you.
All right, we've been watching a live news conference from downtown Farmington, the latest on the investigation into that fatal explosion early yesterday at LEAP, which was a nonprofit there in Farmington in the downtown area. Brief synopsis of what we just heard, and then we'll get you back to regular programming. We heard from the town manager, we heard from the state police, the acting fire chief. Perhaps I'll begin with him, talked about supporting Michael Bell's family, thanking the community and saying we will recover from this, but indicating it will take some time. He also updated how the injured firefighters are doing, and we have a graphic we can show you too about that. We're going to go through that really quickly one more time because there are several people who are critically injured following that explosion. This from the hospital. So in critical condition, Terry Bell, who is the chief and brother of Michael Bell, who was killed. Scott Baxter is critical. His father, Ted Baxter, or Theodore Baxter, is critical. Tim Hardy is listed as fair, and it's Tim's father whom we heard speak. He's the acting fire chief, and Joseph Hastings also fair, all at Maine Med, and the acting chief saying he was coming down here tomorrow to spend some time with them. Noting, too, that they really hadn't been interviewed with regard to the investigation yet. They're just going to focus on letting them heal. We heard from Ken Grimes with the State Fire Marshal's office about the investigation and how it's going. He says it's going well, but they really don't have much to say. Maybe an answer by the end of the week, but they're going through the debris field. They've been talking with a lot of people who were there, interviewing them. And there was a question about Route 2 opening, and for folks who live around there, you're certainly wondering when Route 2 will open. It's not open yet. Perhaps by the end of the day. They'll reassess that by the end of the day, but he's not making any promises. He said that of all the explosion scenes that he has seen, and he's seen quite a few because he's been with the fire marshal's office for a long time, he says by far this is the worst, and the fact that it's so big makes the investigation that much harder. And there was a question too about the environmental impact and the environmental impact on the investigators as well, and they're all wearing masks and they are taking precautions, that the Department of Environmental Protection is on the scene as well. Again, this is an ongoing investigation, and we're just not sure how much more information we're going to get each day, but we'll certainly be following it, as I know you expect, and we'll bring you the very latest just as soon as it comes our way. That's going to do it for us for now. We're back here at 5 o'clock. We hope you join us then.